Hello, everyone. Today we're back and we're starting with the art of Cameroon. So this is our third video from Africa. Today we'll only do two pieces because I like to, as I said before, I like to try to break them up uh, uh, geographically. Sorry, guys. My brain just had a hiccup for a second there. And so I'm just going to, we're starting with the art of Cameroon, and this makes some people just crazy when I do that. But Cameroon's down here. So we have the little horn there, right here, okay? All right, so we're gonna do Cameroon here. And we have two images today from Cameroon. So let's get started. All right. So the first image we have is the Aka elephant mask. These are the Bamaleke peoples of Cameroon, often called the Western Grassfields region. So Cameroon has, like, near its west edge, a lot of grassy area, and that is where the Bamaleke people live. So this mask is from the 19th to 20th century. Again, because of its materials, it's very difficult to have these things last for long. They're very, very cool. The Baltimore Museum of Art has a couple of these, and they're really, really interesting looking. So what this is, we're looking at something that's 58 inches long, so 5 feet. Almost, 21 inches wide from one ear to the other, and 11 inches deep. So that mask part has some width to it, some depth to it. So what are we looking at? We're looking at an elephant mask, a mask of an elephant. And the reason is that in Africa, when you think about your animals, right, you think about elephants, and elephants are powerful. Elephants are strong. Elephants are large. Elephants are they're important. They're big. They're impressive. And so the fawn, F-O-N, the fawn, the king, wears his Aka elephant mask along with some of the other men only in the royal court. These could only have been worn by people in the royal court, the fawn and some other people in the royal court. But it's like a crown, okay? And it shows power. It shows wealth. It shows his kingship. It shows how big and important he is. Its job during the dance that it is danced with is also to show his divine right, because the white color that's there represents the ancestors. The black color that you see represents the relationship between living and the dead. The red represents women and life. And so the fact that he's got this costume that has all of these colors on it shows that he has that divine right, shows that he has that connection to the gods and the ancestors. He, the fawn, could organize a hunting party, and he's the only person in the Bamaleke peoples that is allowed to form a hunting party. Only the fawn could say, we're going to go hunting, and I want this person, this person, this person, and this person. You couldn't get together and say, hey, let's go hunting. Only the fawn can do that. And so by giving him this idea, it is this idea that he's powerful and that he is in control. Now, when this would have been worn as part of a larger costume, so I'm going to scroll for a second, show you the next one. Woo, aren't they cool looking? And they hang down like the elephant's trunk, right? And they got the big ears, and they put the drums on top, and they pull on those handles, and it makes a drumming sound, and they're dancing. And you'll see that there are leopard skins underneath their costume. They would have been worn with the fawn, would have worn them with his leopard skins, because the belief in the Bamaleke people is that leopards could transform into men, and back and forth. And so the fawn would wear the leopard skins with his Aka helmet and represent sort of the way that he could protect you from things. So some of the men of the hunting party might pretend to be an animal, and the fawn in his elephant mask and leopard skin could attack the animals that are supposed to be attacking, and in the dance destroy this, this animal that's coming. And it's a way for the fawn to remind you that the king can protect you from the things that come from the forest. And remember that this beadwork is indicative of trade. It would have been expensive, so it's indicative of wealth. The elephant mask could only have been worn by people who were selected to be part of the royal court and the dance. And it's important that we also remember that this dance of the fawn and the hunting party and the animals coming from the forest have been done for hundreds of years. But the oldest ones we have are from the 19th century, because they just don't, the materials are very perishable, because the ears are wood, the beads are woven onto cloth, or sometimes just raffia, sometimes just that sort of fibrous, almost like a string, and they come apart. They just don't survive for a long period of time. And so even though we know that they've done that for hundreds of years, we don't have any older ones than that. There's an amazing video from Khan Academy about this, and I would highly recommend to all of my AP students that you go to Khan Academy and you watch the video about the Aka elephant mask. It's a really excellent video, has lots of interesting information, and you can watch them dance. And depending on how long this video is, I might show it at the end. What I love most about this is the ears. When they dance, the ears wiggle, and I just really enjoy them immensely. I think it's really, really interesting. And as I said, the Baltimore Museum of Art has a couple, and when you can get up really close and see the beadwork, it's really, really impressive. And you really get to see the detail and the work and the craftsmanship and the artistry that goes into making something like this. So if you can get to the Baltimore Museum of Art to see it, I highly recommend it. All right. So the next one I'm going to show you is one of my favorites in Africa. My favorite in Africa is the Benin plaques, because I have a very important, special place in my heart for them. And that's my favorite. And my second favorite is, we're going to do it when we do the Congo. But this is my third favorite in all of Africa. Here we go. This little guy. Okay, so he's called a reliquary figure, and we've talked about what a reliquary is. A reliquary is where we have things that are important to keep that we set aside, and Catholic reliquaries typically contain the bones, remains, hair, something of a saint. Okay, so a reliquary is a box or some kind of container where important things are held. Okay. And this is a reliquary figure because he would sit on the edge of the box and protect the box. So I'm going to show you an example. You only have one image, but this is an example of it in its use. So it would sit on the reliquary box and it would protect the reliquary box. Okay, so that's its job. This is created by the Fang people or the Fang people. I haven't been able to get clear explanation of that. I've been able to verify my pronunciation on a lot of other things with people that I know who are from these various places, but I haven't heard whether this is Fang or Fong. I'm still working on that. But they're from Cameroon. And it's made of wood. This one's only 23 inches high from its feet to its head, so it's not very big. And so what you're looking at is one of many that are created, and these are guardian figures, things that are meant to protect. Okay, and so what you're looking at is it is abstracted. It's not meant to look exactly like a human. It is an abstracted version of a human. It is a what is the other word that we use? A stylized version of a human. It is meant to be expressive. So his little feet are dangling down over the edge. He's not very heavy and he's not very big. And his job is to protect the box that would have contained important things. I love how that is very clear. Important things, stuff. So what kind of stuff things would be in a box like this? Well, there might be bones of people who lived a long life, women who had a lot of children, people who were great craftsmen. But they might not only be bones. If it's someone who was a great craftsman, it might be something small that great craftsman created that could go in the box. If it was a woman who had very many children, it might be something that belonged to her, that is symbolic of all of her children. So why would we want to have these things in our reliquary box? Well, because if you have these things, you can call on the ancestors, right? If you are having trouble getting pregnant, you can call on the ancestor in the reliquary who had many children and ask the ancestors to come and help you get pregnant. If you're sick, you could go to the reliquary and ask the ancestors that lived a long life to help you. And the reliquary box was maintained by the elders, the oldest people in the village or in the society, and they could go to the reliquary and ask for guidance, ask for help. They would act as sort of like the shaman, right? It was the reliquary and the things that are in it could be brought out at festivals. And the pieces taken out one by one to teach or remind the history of the village. And why do we have this stuff? Because remember that many of our peoples in Africa are nomadic. We don't have a cemetery. We don't put all of our dead in one place and come back to that same place. It just doesn't work when you're nomadic. So you can't, go to the local cemetery and go to great granny's grave because she had 14 children, and you pray with great granny. You can't do that here. And so you keep something that belonged to great granny who had 14 children with the hopes that she can help you, when it's time for you to become pregnant. So his job, this little guy, this little figure here, is to sit on the edge of the box. And his feet are hanging over, and he's meant to look serious, but calm. Okay? Powerful, but kind. Okay? He is meant to scare away anyone who would come to try to take anything from the reliquary. Okay? And that is why you see, let's look at what you see. Oops, sorry. Clicked on that. You see his hands holding a knife. Okay, he's going to scare you with his knife. You also see that there is an enlarged belly button and an enlarged penis. And why do we have that? That job is to emphasize life, to emphasize birth, right? And so, it is to help continue the line of succession of the village. It is a wonderful sense of duality. It is both. It has both reverence and power. It has both peace and threat. It has both fear and calm, and it's a very cool thing. You look at it and you realize that, again, the forehead is so large, right? To show us intelligence. The torso is very long, and it's so that we can fit in all the things we need to fit in, like the knife and the umbilical cord and the sexual organs. The mouth is closed because he's not going to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to you. And his eyes are down. He is not trying to he's not going to stare at you to make you afraid. He's not going to stare at you to like give you the stink eye. His eyes are down. He's calm. His mouth is closed. He's not going to, but he does have that sword there to let you know that if you try it, he's going to come after you. Okay. And the three pieces at the top is indicative of the way that many of the men in Cameroon would wear their braided hair in this particular village. Now, this is one from another village, and you can see that this is a different way to wear the hair, right? And so they're different depending on what village they're created in. This one has some shell for the necklace, and so they're each individual. They're very cool, but the one that they give you is, I just love his face. Very calm, very powerful. Okay, that is our art of Cameroon. I'm gonna go here really quickly, and I'm gonna show you how to get there. So I'm gonna pull this up. I'm going to go to Khan Academy, okay? And then once I get into the Khan Academy, I'm going to go to Byeri and hope that that will work. Maybe, possibly. Okay, the Fang Reliquary video, here we go. So what you can see is there's this one here, all right? So the Fang Reliquary. And you can see that there's a video here. But what I really wanted to show you was the Aka. Okay, so this is the video that I'm going to show you. Make sure my sound is on. And I'm going to play this video for you. All right.
We're in the Brooklyn Museum looking at this magnificent beaded mask.
This mask is covered in beads. It was danced by the members of the Elephant Society, the Kouossi Society, in the Bamileke Kingdom of Cameroon.
Cameroon is a country in Central Africa, but we're seeing this object hermetically sealed within plexiglass in a museum, completely divorced from the way that it would have been used and understood in its original context.
This was a masquerade, which involved not just a mask, but a costume, performers, musicians, and attendants to bring this mask to life, to do what it was really supposed to do in terms of honoring the king and bringing about social harmony.
So we should not be seeing it frozen, hung, as if it was just a piece of cloth.
This object was obviously collected and has now a second life in this museum space. It's very hard for us to recontextualize its original use, but we know from photographs that the Bamileke Society would wear these with a red feather headdress, a leopard skin pelt, and a full body costume. The leopard and the elephant were symbols of rule and powerful symbols for the fawn. The fawn was a divine king who could transform into the elephant, and the leopard was thought to be an animal that could transform into a human. So we have that connection between divine rule and the essence of these powerful animals.
So the Bamileke that would have worn this would have been court officials, title holders, warriors, people that held themselves great power, and in their association with the leopard and with the elephant would have expressed the power of the king, and in a sense, the political stability of that hierarchical order.
The Bamileke king, the fawn, allowed this society, and only this one, to dance the elephant mask and to wear leopard skin. They were entrusted with these symbols of authority and power. The main form in this beaded piece is the isosceles triangle, which relates to the patterning on the body of the leopard.
Highly stylized, though, as the entire mask is. It's dazzling, and it has a kind of optical quality that is full of energy and dynamism.
And imagine when it's worn and danced and performed, it would be incredibly dynamic with all of these various materials and colors and shapes all brought together to suggest the power of that king.
And in Cameroon today, the Bamileke still perform this ritual, now annually. But instead of warriors performing it, these are powerful members of the society.
And this is just a reminder to you that for many of the pieces that we study, there are videos for them. When we're looking at Africa, you can see there are a multitude of videos here. And so you can go to search by course, AP Art History. And what is wonderful about going to this AP Art History, that's not what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to go here. What's wonderful about it is it lays it out for you by unit, and you can select your unit and look at various pieces. It also, right before the test, it would be a really cool way to go back and make sure you understand all of the religions that we talked about, stuff like that. So there's really, really great stuff in here, and it's a really great resource for you in addition to the pieces that I teach you. So that is